The question is, are you doing what you love or are you doing what's expected of you? And sometimes we're even good at things, but it's not what we love. So we have to find a space. We have to create a space in our lives to begin to show up fully and authentically as ourselves. Tap into the feeling of what lights you up, and then it'll help you start creating a roadmap to move back in the direction of your dreams. Have you noticed that more and more people are becoming more self-reflective? I know that I've seen it a lot. So many people have come up to me and said, Roz, the stakes are so high. I want to make sure that I'm doing what matters. I want to make sure that I'm making the most out of this thing called life. And if that sounds familiar to you, this episode is for you. Hey, I'm Roz Clark, Dream Doula. I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs, executives, and performing artists go on to live the life of their dreams. And today, the stakes are so high, we need to make sure that we're showing up fully and authentically as ourselves. Asking yourself, am I doing what I love? Am I doing what I'm good at? Or am I just doing what is expected of me? And here's the thing. Questions, when you ask better questions, you get better answers. So I'm going to start out the gate. I have a 12-step transformation journey workbook that I want to give to you as my gift. So there'll be a link in the description somewhere. Download it and start asking yourself these questions. And yet, in the meantime, let's jump into this episode, and I'm going to share some other ways that you can start really dialing in on how do you live your best and highest life. I can remember early in my career, I had one of my earliest clients, and she cried in every session. And I wasn't even doing the deep work that I'm doing now. She had actually come to me asking me to help her, to be a performance coach, to help her be able to speak more. And so she was a high-powered executive at a large nonprofit and was doing great work. And she also had her side project at the time. It was her passion project. And so she came to me and said, I want to be able to speak better. I want to be able to do, workshops and keynotes and those things. Can you help me? And I was like, of course I can. And so we started working together, but because she came out of that kind of corporate, large nonprofit background, she talked a lot in corporate speak. And so I kept trying to get her to, but why does this matter? Who does this matter to? Why are you doing this work? And every time we started asking those questions and she would regroup and then answer from that place, she would just start crying because she got so moved. She was so connected to that idea, that mission, that belief that she had, that she didn't want to see people suffer, and she had information to share. Well, ironically enough, she ended up quitting that corporate job and starting her own business, coaching in the area that she felt passionate about. And while everybody doesn't have to stop or quit a job or leave a situation, when we really do get tapped into, what am I passionate about? What is the thing that I really know that I've been put on this earth to do? When we start doing that work, when we start showing up and operating from that space, so many things open up for us. We get more creative. We allow ourselves to take chances. We allow ourselves to take chances. We allow ourselves to begin to show up fully and authentically as who we know we're supposed to be. Because like I said, the question is, are you doing what you love or are you doing what's expected of you? And sometimes we're even good at things, but it's not what we love. So we have to find a space. We have to create a space in our lives to begin to show up fully and authentically as ourselves. So we want to start with this question of, who do I want to be? Like, ask yourself, who do I want to be? If somebody came up to you and said, if you could do anything in the world, money is no object and nobody would judge you for it, what would you be doing? And that is the starting place. And when you start from there, and that defense mechanism, that survival mechanism will start chirping away in your head. Ask yourself this question: whose voice do you hear in your head when you start diminishing or challenging your dreams? Because 9 times out of 10, it wasn't your voice first. Somebody else said that to you. That doesn't make sense. That's too risky. You can't make any money doing that. You don't have the qualifications to do that. There's so many other people doing this. Why would you think you would be any different? Or why would you think that you could stand out? And so you start internalizing those questions, that doubt, that discouragement, and then you start doing it to yourself. But you just have to trust that inner knowing, because there is something in you that it's like, no, I know I could do this. Like, I know I could be good at this. I know that I could make a difference. And that's when you start, again, showing up, allowing yourself to dream, to be free. And like, I can remember when I was younger, I grew up in a blue collar working class neighborhood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But my dream was always to be a performer. I always wanted to be on the stage. And I could sing. I grew up like, but mama, I can sing. I grew up in the church and learned to sing in the church, and just had this love for it. And I was just a natural performer. And so I started pursuing that. I took dance classes for a long time because I thought I was going to be a dancer, and then found out I'm a better singer than a dancer. So started following that. And as I got older, because I think my parents thought I would grow out of it. My dad says to me at one point, "But honey, you're smart. You could have a real job." Like, what I wanted, what I believed in, what people knew that I was good at, because I was getting hired and I was getting solos. And from the time, like, solos in the church, and then solos in the school choir, and then opportunities to sing, the national anthem at different places. And so I kept getting these opportunities, and that felt right. That felt right in the very core of my being. And yet I came from a place that, people didn't do that. And it was scary for my parents, my father particularly, to think about me out there trying to make a living singing. And yet again, I was like, I'm going to do this. I know it's going to happen. And look, I turned 21 on tour in Paris as a classical soprano. So there was something there, and I've been able to, translate that into, first I was coaching, first I was performing, then I was coaching artists. And then from coaching artists, like, again, people came to me for speaking and on camera coaching and all of that. And from that, I grew into, personal growth and personal development coaching. And so I took the tool and the talent that I had, and I've continued to allow it to evolve over the years. So, what is that thing in you? That thing that you used to say, wow, if I only could. Or not even if I only could. There was a time that you said, I could do this. I could be this. Like, that could have, that was the first piece for you. And so reconnect with that. Reconnect with that passion. Reconnect with that power. Reconnect with that still small voice in you that is waiting and crying out to be lived. So again, this 12-step transformation workbook will help you start answering those questions, will help you to reconnect with that part of you, that you'll begin to journal, you'll begin to remember, you begin to put into words, and then tap into the feeling of what lights you up. And then it'll help you start creating a roadmap to move back in the direction of your dreams. So again, you don't have to let everything go. And yet you do need to tap back into what matters most. And what I would dare say that you are more than likely here to do, to share, to be, to teach. This is what that special part of you is what makes you unique. And so don't play yourself cheap. Don't play small. Don't disregard the thing that you have to offer. And so that brings us to the question of, who are you? What's that movie, Zoolander? Who am I? And yet that is such an important question. Like at the core of your being, who are you? And so for me, like I said, I started out as an artist. So there's a part of me that is always going to be a creative. And I think that that's why a lot of my clients enjoy working with me, because I pull that part of them out. I help them to reconnect with their creativity, with their ability to dream, their ability to, and I don't love this, I don't like this phrase, but for lack of a better word, to think outside the box, to live outside of the limitations, like take the limits off and be who you know you are meant to be. So let's just take a moment to think about that. Let's just pause here for a moment and just put your hand on your heart and take a deep breath and say out loud, answer this question: who are you? At the core of your being. Like I said, for me, my answer is, I am an artist. I am a creative. I am a change maker. So what about you? Who are you? And you can start with I am. I am whatever that is for you. And then you can move on up and say, I feel that I'm called to do this. I feel excited about that idea. I feel that I'm meant to make a difference. And then go up just one more level to your knowing. I know that I'm meant for this. I know that I'm destined to make a difference. I know that what I have to offer matters. And just allow yourself to be present with that. Give yourself the gift of being present. Give yourself the gift of allowing your inner being, your inner voice to speak. Because that, starting there, is what opens up doors. It opens up opportunities, because the more you start proclaiming and speaking, and moving in the direction of your purpose and your passion, you allow your mind to become a heat-seeking missile, moving in the direction of what you've proclaimed, that what you've said, I am, I feel, I know. And our mind, like neuroplasticity, our mind allows us to expand and become, because we're usually in survival mode. That's what, our brains have evolved to. It's like, let us survive. No saber-toothed tigers, let us survive. And yet when you take that limit off and you allow yourself to have, be in the realm of possibility, then again, you'll find opportunities come up. You start having ideas. You'll start dreaming. Like I talk about dreams all the time. And sometimes it's us being awake. Like my dream and my passion is to do this. And then also when you're sleeping, because now your subconscious says, ooh, I get to come out and play. Ooh, I get to do something new. I get to be free. And for me, I keep a journal next to my bed. So when I wake up, I download right away whatever ideas have come up, what dreams have come up, whatever that is. So allowing yourself that opportunity to be more creative, to be more free. Like you have more freedom to be who you are. And then you start moving, you start doing things a little bit at a time. And then all of a sudden, you'll get a call like, hey, we're working on this project and we wanted to know if you wanted to be involved in it. Or, hey, we have this thing coming up and we wanted to know, would you be a speaker or would you like to be a guest? Whatever that is, opportunities will start coming to you because you've opened up the floodgates and allowed it to happen. You've allowed it, you've allowed yourself to stop fighting with yourself, stop playing small and, stop saying, well, I know I could, but so many people are counting on me, or there's so much that I have to do, or whatever that is. You just want to get grounded, centered, focused, and move that way. So let's answer these questions. Are you doing what you love? Are you doing what you're good at? And is what you're good at right now what you love? And are you doing what is expected of you, or are you doing what lights you up? Those questions will make a difference in your life. Start answering them now. As a matter of fact, I encourage you and I invite you, answer in the comments. I'd love to know. I'd love to hear from you and see what came up for you in this conversation. Because again, it's a conversation. It's not me talking at you. It's me sharing some ideas. And then I love hearing back from you. So make sure that you leave a comment. Make sure that if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe so you keep getting notified that I have dropped some content. And most importantly, make sure that you download, click the link and download the workbook so that you can get started. And if you think you want to have a deeper dive with me or a deeper opportunity, hit me up. You can find me on Instagram at Roz Diva Nation. On LinkedIn, I have a ton of content as well. Hit me up on LinkedIn because I'd love to hear from you. And this is what I know. Your voice matters now more than ever. So trust your voice. Let your voice come forth. We need you. The world needs you. And this is the thing. We are going to change the world one kind deed at a time, one conversation at a time, one piece of content at a time. So allow yourself to be seen and to be heard. And like I said, I always want to hear from you. So thank you so much for taking this time. Thank you so much for being here. And just know that I am rooting for you, cheering for you, and know that your voice matters. So in the meantime, I remind you to continue to think big and dream even bigger. I'll see you soon. Be well. Peace.